and we'll get it rolling.
Okay.
Do you know what episode this is? Because I think I might have forgot.
No, I mean, you don't have to say the episode number. I got my titles and bead shirt.
Cool.
Repping the brand.
So
this will be 174, I think, bro.
It might be.
Yeah, I just pulled it up on the phone.
Okay. Well, this is the Oglesby and Scott Show. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, here with Miss Rashana Scott. How have you been, Rashana?
I'm good. How are you?
We know you're doing good. We see the posts. Top in Chicago, millions of dollars sold. So shout out to that, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to everything you're accomplishing. You are an inspiration to a lot of people. I know. I see the likes. I see the comments. So shout out to that. Make sure that the guests know that you're doing some great things during a quote pandemic.
Yes. No, I'm good. First quarter done, right? Record breaking. And I think, it's interesting because you don't really realize what you are doing and what you're setting out to accomplish when you just have your head down and you're working, and then all of a sudden you look and you're topping charts and it's like, okay, how can I do better next quarter, right?
Right. Right. It's like it doesn't stop. It just ramps up. Hashtag Black Girl Magic. Shout out to all that good stuff. And welcome to another show, guys. It's been a while. I think we've been posting episodes, but those have been banked episodes. Those haven't been episodes we've been recording freshly. So we're gonna start bringing that fresh fire, that fresh heat, giving you guys the game like the Oglesby and Scott show can. And with us today, we have a special guest, somebody who was supposed to be in this show probably years ago. We've been following each other for a while,
right?
And just it's so cool to see what his brand has become, and just seeing the numbers he's been putting up recently, 6-figure months, just crushing it. So shout out to that. The brother goes by the name Marquis Robinson. He is a real estate investor in the Georgia market. He is a VSU alumni. He is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, and just a brother who's crushing it right now. So welcome to the show, man.
Man, thank you. Like you were saying, man, I've been a fan of the show for a while now, man. I think like Rashana was saying, when your head is down, man, I wanted to get on with the first opportunity, but I really felt as if I had more work to do, before I came on, because listening to some of the great people you had on here, man, they motivated me to keep going. So when I first started my journey, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on with both of you all. Y'all are killing it, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So thanks so much for joining us. So we'll go ahead and kick it off by asking, tell us what life was like growing up.
Okay, life growing up. So I want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm from Georgia. That does not necessarily mean I'm from Atlanta. So I grew up in South Georgia for the most part, which is very rural. You know what I mean? Small towns and things like that. I was born into I was born to two teenage parents. My mom and my dad and things like that. My mom did the best she could with me and my two siblings, my brother and my sister. It was a decent upbringing. I like to tell people I come from the bottom, but when I say the bottom, not necessarily that I grew up in the projects, so I just had the roughest upbringing. But it was like, it's different growing up in South Georgia compared to Atlanta. You know what I mean? It's less opportunities down there. It's almost like we're kind of forgotten about. You know what I mean? So, but I had a good upbringing, man. I was the first college graduate in my family on my mom's side, first one to join the frat. A lot of firsts. So that kind of like really fueled me to get to the level that I'm at now, because I'm like, man, okay, I'm the first to do a lot of this stuff. I have to keep going because they need to see it, and then my brother went to college a few years later. He joined Kappa as well. He's a Kappa man. So it's just, that I just knew, I kind of felt like, man, I may be that one that really changes the game. You know what I'm saying? So, but I had a decent upbringing. I played sports and things like that, but I was always into, hustling and business, and I kind of felt that I knew something was different about me, growing up, because I never really wanted to fit in and, fall in line, if you will.
So a lot of people these days bash college They're like, oh, college, you can't get no job, blah, blah. But I feel like college and also Greek life add value to certain people, African American men, African Americans in general. And so it's interesting that you talk about you being a Kappa and your brother being a Kappa. How do you think that being in a fraternity helped make you into the man that you are today?
I think the networking, man, the networking, you really seeing people, because again, I grew up in South Georgia. It's not really too many positive Black figures, if you will. It's a lot of people that just going through the motions and things like that. A lot of people down there, they don't really have that much hope, as opposed to Atlanta, where you see so many people that look like you driving Bentleys and owning businesses and things like that. So I would say, being a member of the frat exposed me to Black men with families. Again, like my parents were never married, and none of my friends growing up, their parents were never married. So I really didn't meet people who had parents that were successfully married and until I went to college. You know what I mean? So that kind of exposed me to like, okay, man, everybody's parents, they're not at odds. You know what I mean? It's some beautiful families out here and things like that. But I would say with the frat, man, it really exposed me to more businessmen. It kind of confirmed some things I was thinking growing up, like, man, I wanted to be a businessman, even growing up, man, like the first person I researched was my guy, Bob Johnson, who used to own the Charlotte Bobcats before, Michael Jordan took over. Ironically, he's a Kappa man. So, you know what I mean? He started BET and things like that. So that kind of like started to get my mind like, man, I want to join this organization because I see what this Black man has built. I know I can build something if I find the right niche or find the right hustle. So I'm pro college, but with an asterisk on that, if you're going to go, I highly recommend the kids in our community go on scholarship. And when I say scholarship, not necessarily athletics. You need to go on a STEM scholarship, some type of scholarship. It's funny we bring this up because I'm releasing a scholarship tomorrow for my community because I want to promote business in my community back home. So I think I'm pro college, but with an asterisk on it by saying you need to go for something that is going to put you in a position to win long term. Like, don't go just to be going because your friends are going. You know what I mean? Like, I feel as if we need to identify this with our kids around 15, 16 and say, hey, Todd, young Todd, what do you want to do with your life? Or what are some of the things you want to do with your life? Okay, you want to be a businessman. You may want to look into a business admin degree or accounting or finance, something like that that's going to really transition, because my first job out of college, man, I was selling cell phones at Verizon. That had nothing to do with my degree. And my mom would always question me about that. She was like, is that really what you want to do or you just get paid? You know what I mean? And that's it's like after people graduate college, it's almost like a depression stage / okay, now what? Because I'm out of that bubble. You know what I'm saying? They're struggling, man.
So this is important because I feel like our generation was told to go to college. And so people thought that it was just go to college, not go to college to get the right degree so that then you can transition into something that means something. We were just sold the idea that the degree. Yeah. So before we leave college, you went to VSU and you're a Kappa and a very notable businessman and billionaire went to VSU and he's a Kappa. What is that like? Do they discuss that?
So and I think people get this mixed up. I went to VSU, the one in Georgia, not the one in Virginia, but
got it.
My good friend Eugene, he was on the show, I think maybe a year or two ago. He went to that VSU and he talks a lot about him, but it's funny, that's one of my favorite books though. Reginald Lewis. That's my guy. Yeah, that's my guy though.
I was hoping that was a connection we can make.
I wish.
So, take it away, Rashana.
Wait, so you just went like college? Wait, what? Who
we were talking about? Reginald Lewis. We're talking about Reginald Lewis.
The man.
Oh, okay. Football player?
No. He's a business acquisition strategist. And lawyer. Jeez. You don't know Reginald Lewis? Watch White Guys Have All the Fun. First Black billionaire. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The author of that book. Got it. Cool. All right. So we can edit that part out, Donald. So I wanted to ask about the exposure piece, right? Because we talked about that. I feel like I talk about that often, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, and I'm glad that you asked that question, Charles, because I was actually going to say, like you said, you were the first person to graduate college, the first businessman, and all of that. And what do you think it was that initially kind of lit that fire? Like you said, was it even before going? Because even, like you said, when you got to college and you pledged and you met all of these businessmen, but you even made a decision saying like, okay, I'm going to go to school, right? That, you like you said, you were in the streets, you were hustling, but you chose a different route. Like, was there an exposure piece, or was there something that happened like while you were in high school, even prior to that, that you think helped put you on, the path that you're on now?
I would probably say, just looking back and saying like, everybody I know is struggling. You know what I mean? Like, what do I have to lose by going for it and really taking a different route? Because I was like, what we're doing right now, no one owns property. Everybody's renting. A lot of us live in the projects. This isn't working. And like I was saying earlier, like I had so many wins. You know what I mean? Graduating college, pledging capital, starting businesses and things like that. And I was like, man, I'm different. So I embraced that. You know what I mean? Like I take pride in being the black sheep, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, because I know I'm setting the standard for, family members to come and things like that. And, now they're coming around and like, okay, man, my cousin reached out to me the other day. Hey, man, I'm thinking about starting a business. That means more to me than 6-figure months, because at least somebody in my family sees it and they understand I can do that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's stuff.
I saw this quote by 9 to 5 Billionaire. And I don't know who was quoting him, but it was the most fire quote I've heard in a long time. And he said, your level of success is equal to your level of exposure. And I was like, that's crazy, because it's so true. Like, if you look at
me.
he was really, if you look at
I'm just playing.
Any of the people that we talked to, Aisha, Doug, maybe even Rashonda, like they've all said like, yeah, my parents used to drive us around these neighborhoods. And that became my vision for what I wanted in life. Right. And so I think that's super cool. When did you start executing on that exposure? When did you start getting into investing, getting into business and that kind of stuff?
I would probably say, again, as a kid, I had a few little hustles. I was selling, Dragon Ball Z pictures and all kind of crazy stuff. But when I really started to get a feel for business, I had a Greek paraphernalia company called Custom Made, right? So I would go to the vendor, I know you're in the organization yourself, so I would go to the events and sell t-shirts and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, it's really a market for this. You know what I mean? But the only thing about that was it became a job, because if I didn't show up, then I didn't get any sales, or I would have to ship the stuff off from UPS and things like that. So that was my first, I would really say, legitimate taste of entrepreneurship and really, investing my money in other things. And then I kind of got, I got a little bit more hungrier. And my cousin, she's a broker up here in Atlanta. And, she was doing her thing with the real estate. She's kind of like a sister to me. And then, like everybody else, I went to like a seminar. It was like Dan Merrill. I don't know if you guys heard of him.
Mm-hmm. Flip his house.
Yeah, go to the thing, and then he make the people, go to the back of the room and, sign up for the 20K program and all that crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that one day really helped change my life. Like, it kind of showed me, like, you can really make money without having a real estate license. And then I started seeing Jay Morrison on YouTube, started seeing his videos, and I kind of just fell in love with it, because I'm like, man, because I was teaching. Before I got into real estate, I was a teacher. A lot of people don't believe this, but I was a teacher, man, getting paid once a month. I was making $2,000, because I was in that stage of my life where I was doing what I thought society, I was doing what society wanted me to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to teach and I'm going to educate, kids that look like me. But what I started to notice is, man, a lot of this stuff in the public education system is outdated. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these kids, they're leaning towards entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And at that point, like, man, number one, I'm not making any money. Number two, I'm not happy, because I really would prefer doing my own thing, having my own company. And number three, if I do this right, I can come back and teach these same kids how to be business owners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a fact, man.
Yeah, and I think the thing is to, like you said, by being a teacher, not only were you doing what other people expected for you to do, but you were also doing what was safe, right? Or what was deemed safe at that time. And I don't think we come from a generation of a ton of risk takers. And I mean, I remember being on a podcast one time, and we talked about like oppression, and we talked about like Black business owners, starting businesses back in the day and them getting burned down, and
Right.
how all of this, that trauma and all of that has led to so many reasons of why we just generationally have had success in business, or why we have not, or why we have continued to push our kids towards, like you said, the traditional go to school, get a degree, and that whole thing, and being lied to essentially in regards to like job security, being secure and it not being secure at all. So you were definitely doing what was safe. And then, like you said, when you're like, look, am I being true to myself? And I think the thing is, there are so many people, especially in today, that are seeing, like you said, if they can do it, then I can do it too. And am I even happy with what I'm doing? And, I definitely like the generation of, man, F that job.
Right.
And, and it's like, hey, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, so you went from making $2,000 a month to over 6 figures a month. And you would not have been able to do that if you continue to play it safe.
Exactly. I totally agree with that, man. Because again, I look back on it like, man, every time I've took a risk, for the most part, I've came out on top. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, like, what do I have to lose? Because, and again, this is nothing against people with 9 to 5, but the whole 9 to 5 thing has only kept my family going in the same circle in the rat race. So somebody had to, run off the plantation, if you will, and come back and get everybody else later on down the road. That's kind of how I view it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I like to look at people's lives, and I look at like how doing something played out for them. So it's like, how did that whole job thing work out for you? And if you worked your face off, worked until 60 and retired broke, then what's in store for me if I just follow your path?
Right.
I don't want to follow that path. What I like that you said also is that you can kind of impact the system by being outside of the system. So it's like a lot of people that I know, they think that helping young kids is by going and being a teacher, or by going and being a social worker, or by going and being whatever, maybe a counselor. But the real way is by running it up and then going back and providing opportunities and providing education and providing a pathway, providing a connection for these kids to achieve what you achieved.
Because you have to ask yourself this also, Todd. What type of control do you have if you're doing it the way because again, it's a lot of politics in education. I'm pretty sure you all know that it's a lot of politics in education, man. Like, I taught in Fulton County schools here in Atlanta, which is Alpharetta all the way down to East Point and College Park, and the kids in East Point and College Park would have books with holes in them. And the kids up in Alpharetta would have, Chick-fil-A delivered there and iPads and all this type of stuff. And you say to yourself, it's Fulton County school system, not South Fulton and North Fulton. It's so much politics in there. And you ask yourself, what type of control can I really have? What kind of impact can I really have on the kids if I have to do it the way they want me to do it? You know what I mean? And we're being honest, a lot of kids, specifically in our community, they're more than likely going to listen to the guy that's ran a bag up and really made it out, as opposed to, the guy that's just making $2,000 a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
So once I started to see it like that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to go show you this is how I did it legitimately. You know what I mean? And I live by this, man. I think in our community, man, we preach sports so much that I feel like a lot of kids don't really reach their full potential, because you can only play sports for so long, but business, man, forever. You know what I mean?
Forever.
It's forever.
And the crazy thing about sports is, like, there's one champion, there's one winner, but like that's not how business works. In business, you can be right as long as you on the field, you winning.
I'm with you.
What did your first deals look like? Were you still working as a teacher and getting into real estate? What did that look like for you?
It's when I tell people this story, they laugh, they just don't believe. Like, I am a maverick, man. Like, I quit my job. Like, I quit my job and I was like, man, I'm going for it. Like I cashed out my retirement because again, I taught in Florida too for like a year. So I cashed out my Florida retirement account. I cashed out my my Georgia teacher retirement account as well. And I went all in with it, man. You know, I found a mentor and we split my first deal 60-40. And I made 15 grand and I never looked back.
That's crazy. How long did it take you to get that first deal?
So it took me about. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and what was the deal? Like, what did it look like?
Okay, cool, yeah. So my first 2 months, I got a property under contract. It was funny. It was a guy out of California. He lied to us about the title or something like that. So that one blew up. But the second deal, man, and I tell people, you know, if you're gonna get into whether it's real estate or any type of business, what are you gonna sacrifice? Like I cut out everything that I was doing before, going to brunch, hanging out. I mean, I lost some friends on the way to this. And, you know, I went and got saved the whole night. Like I said, man, I'm going to brainwash myself into believing that I can get this done and be successful in entrepreneurship. Because, again, I had some success selling T-shirts. So I'm like, okay, if I can sell shirts, I sold phones at Verizon out of college, I can sell houses. I'm a natural born salesman. I sold shoes at JCPenney in college. So, I started like, man, this is my gift to sell and really help other people. But back to the point, man, I was driving for dollars, man. I had an app. I was putting gas in my car. I was driving for dollars. I was putting out bandit signs all over Atlanta. I was getting calls from the code enforcement department. So I emailed the guy. I sent him a message on Facebook Messenger, you know, and so I wanted it so bad, man. I would go through the list of, okay, I want to reach out to Rashonda Scott about this property in Chicago, right? Everybody on her friends list that has the last name Scott, I'm reaching out to them to send the same message over and over and over and over and over and over, right? And the guy, he emailed me back like 3 weeks later. He was like, yeah, man, are you still looking to buy that property? And I'm like, I don't have the money, but yeah, I'm interested in buying it. You know what I mean? Funny story, he had gotten in a car accident, right? He had to be like 52 or something. He got in a car accident and he had a kid on the way, which was weird to me. I was like, okay. He was telling me about the kid he got up in North Carolina that he has to take care of, and he got in a car accident. He was like, man, just give me $15K for the property, man, it's yours. Mind you, Todd, this is in Bankhead. For people who are not familiar with Bankhead, it's the west side of Atlanta. It's red hot right now. We got this property for $15K. We turned around and sold it to another investor for $55K, and we split it 60-40. And I mean, it was all she wrote. Like, I still ride by that house every once in a while just to keep me humble. You know what I mean? Just to keep me focused.
What kind of expenses did you have at this time? Were you renting an apartment? Did you have a car note? How are you managing that?
Yes, sir. I was renting an apartment. I had a car note. I mean, I stripped my life down to, I had a car note. I had a little bit of groceries. You know what I mean? I had the apps for my real estate business, and I had Wi-Fi. That was it. You know, no cable. I had a gym membership. That was really it. I was determined to make this happen. You know what I mean?
So you actually paid for apps. A lot of people in the beginning, they try to go the free route. They're like, all right, let me just figure out how to do this free.
I did some free things, but I paid for the apps, man, because it's like, man, what's $15 a month compared to what I can make with the real estate business? After, you know, you watch so many YouTube videos, you're like, okay, I can make something. You know, I can make $5,000, you know, maybe. Because again, I was making $2,000 a month and getting paid once a month. Let that sink in. You're waiting 30 days to get paid $2,000. And don't let it be like a holiday or something where you get something with the teachers where they get paid and then they have to wait like an extra 2 weeks or something like that when it's a holiday, something like that. So I'm like, what do I have to lose? You know what I mean?
The more I get away from the job, the more I think jobs are just pure slavery.
It is. It is, man.
Like, that's just, how do you pay somebody that much money with a clear conscience?
And you know what? And you know what, Todd? This is one thing I learned also, like being a teacher. I don't think America. It made me think about like America in a different light. You know, the good and the bad, right? In this country, they don't really value public education like that. So let me find out what they value so I can get paid more money, which is business, real estate, capitalism. When I started to learn those three things are really what matters out here, then the light bulb went off like, okay, get your LLC, bro. Use your money to build your credit, bro. Build your credit, and now you have a little bit more leverage. You know what I'm saying? Instead of complaining about, oh man, they don't pay teachers anything. they don't, and I don't really see them increasing the pay anytime soon because they don't value public education over here, man. You know, so
I feel
I
like
can
that's
in March and stomp, or I can go get in the real estate business, increase my value, and understand capitalism, real estate, and investing in business, man. Like, and I think that's a problem in our community. Like, a lot of us don't want to embrace that. I'm not saying quit your job, but get you a few. And I was telling my mom this: get you a few investments, so when you walk into that job, it's less stress. You know what I mean? Like, man, I made $2,000 on my options or whatever, or a course I created, or I made $2,000 with my group that I'm coaching and things like that. So I'm not really gonna let the BS in here get to me today. You know what I'm saying? But when you're depending on that job and you're kind of like married to that job, or you in bed with that job and you're stuck there, then they have more control over you.
100%. A wise person once said that business might not be for everybody, but multiple streams of income is.
Fast.
I feel like multiple streams of income is also kind of like life insurance. Like, you got to protect your life while you're here, man. You can't just man. So you make $20,000 approximately off of this deal. You don't have a job. Where do you go from there?
So from there, I'm trial and error with the marketing. You know what I mean? Trial and error with the marketing. And I had a mentor at the time, so I was paying him to coach me and things like that. And I think that's something a lot of people they kind of like, they take that for granted, man. Like, I was grateful for the opportunity to really work with someone who really does this. Because again, with the deal, he took the deal down with private money. Excuse me. He took the deal down with private money, and then we found a buyer 2 weeks later, and then we sold it. So I forgot to add that part. So it's value in paying. I like to call it investment. It's value in investing in yourself, but investing in whatever craft or whatever field or niche that you want to go into. It's value in investing in someone that's already done it or has some idea of how to do it. You know what I mean? So I value that.
Absolutely.
You know, that's where people drop the ball at. Oh, I'm just gonna go on YouTube. Okay, man, YouTube is not gonna hold you accountable like someone who has a group concentrated on people who are in your position that are trying to learn this skill and come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the thing that's good there is that we talk about this often. We talk about like mentor hacking, right? And like you said, there's value in investing in that, but also get you a mentor that you can make money with, right? Like, and because most people don't have the money to pay for a mentor, so they're just like, oh, I can't afford one. Well, go, get a deal and then bring it back to the table and let them figure it out.
Thanks. I totally agree. I give
That's
you one
thing
That's one
thing I miss about these podcasts is the gems. You can't get gems if you don't have podcasts.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, so that's good. Cool. So deal 2, what does that look like?
Deal two came around. It was a guy. We had to go through a conservator. For people who don't know what that is, it's like an attorney that's over his whole estate. This guy, he was in the military. He got injured. He's a nice guy, man, but his daughter was stealing his money. It's unfortunate. So we had to go through probate court with the conservator, the attorney, and then we got that one for like $25,000. And I think we sold that one for like 62. And at that point, I was like, okay, I can hire some virtual assistants. You know what I mean? Now we're getting into my favorite part of the business, which is delegation, automation, and really scaling the business. You know what I mean?
And I want to ask you too. So how or where did you find your mentor?
Funny story. I was on a friend. Again, it go back to what Todd was saying earlier about the network. A guy that I went to college with. He, I think he was working at a recreation center or something, and the guy walked in. He pulled up in a Mercedes or something like that. He walked in. He was like, "Yeah, man, this is my guy, man. I watch his kid all the time. This guy is the king of real estate in Atlanta. He's one of the baddest guys in the city doing it. You know what I mean?" And the guy got on. He was like, "Yeah, man, if you wanna get in the game, man, come to the Atlanta RIA meeting at 9:00 next Wednesday. It's free to come in. Tell me what you need, and I'll get you across the finish line and get you a deal closed. You just have to have the abundance mindset." And my personal opinion, that's what's holding a lot of people. That's what's killing a lot of people right now. The scarcity mindset, because they don't understand abundance. You know what I mean? I paid this guy to teach me the game, But again, I'm doing 6 figures a month now. You know, I pay that twice, 3 times if I could. You know what I mean? So I went to the Atlanta reel. You know, I walked up to him. I was like, hey man, my guy. You know, I saw you on my guy's IG live or whatever, man. I want to introduce myself. I'm looking to get in the game. You know what I mean? He was like, okay, man, what's your schedule like? I told him I quit my job. I'm going all in with it. You know. And you know, he liked that, of course, and he was like, "Man, it isn't for everyone." And you know, I never forget what he told me. He was like, he looked me in my eyes. He's like, "Man, you know, you sound like a young guy, man, but what are you going to give up? Like, what are you going to sacrifice to really get here?" And that made me think, man. It's like it's so many people out here. They want it, or they hate their situation, but what are you going to sacrifice? Are you going to start going to brunch every weekend? Are you going to go start going to get hookah every weekend? Or are you going to start watching Netflix every weekend? Like, what are you going to give up to really get where you want to go? You know what I mean? Delayed gratification 101. So I met him there, and I kind of, you know, I joined this group, and he started teaching me the business.
Everybody says they want to be an investor, but nobody wants to sacrifice anything.
Yes.
And like sacrificing is investing. Like when you invest, you take money and then you put it over here and it makes you more money. Doesn't have to be like an actual monetary investment. You could be sacrificing your free time. You could be sacrificing your weekends, your evenings. And I think that's one thing that I like to hear that you say. And it's actually probably not uncommon. Like a lot of us think the same way. A lot of us are bosses and we think the same way. I was having a conversation with the guy today, and he was just talking about how he has these employees and they make money, and you see him out there spending it, throwing it at whatever stuff. And he was over here like, yeah, I got this deal. We can put this together, do this over here. And he's like, the difference between us and them is what we do with our money. Like we put our money back in the streets as opposed to putting our money on our feet, unless you can still afford that. So I think that's super dope. I don't want to skip steps, but I really want to know about these 6-figure months, man. What have you been up to lately that's allowing you to just kill it like crazy?
Man, you know what, man? Again, I'm from Georgia, man. You know, is this random? We love Chick-fil-A here, but the reason I like Chick-fil-A, man, is the systems, man. The system, it's the same every time you go. So I told and I have a business partner with this business, by the way. And I told him before we partnered up, I said, bro, we want to be the Chick-fil-A in Atlanta of real estate. What does that mean? Fantastic product, great prices, but most importantly, amazing systems, man. I have a whole system built out. It's a machine now. It was me hustling. Now it's a business, meaning it's a machine now. Like it spits out deals on a consistent basis. And what I've done is I've took that money and I have a real estate investing software as well. You know what I mean? Where people pay me monthly. It's a subscription-based company. And now it went from me paying for all these softwares until, okay, let me invest my money into that. So my software, what it does is it skip traces. You can text blast from it. You can do RVMs, the whole nine. I have like a la carte investing platform for people because again, I tell my partner all the time, we don't know how long this is going to hold on. You know, so I need something that's recession proof. You know, people are always going to want to invest and get into the business. So that's why I have Skip Source, which is a real estate investing software. And I sell people distressed seller lists as well.
So are you making most of your money by your software or through the actual act of wholesaling?
The active business of wholesaling, yes. That's where most of the money is coming from. That's an asset that I created from this business.
What I like is Rashana's doing well because she has systems too.
Man,
that's what allows her to win.
Yes. So that's the biggest thing with systems, man.
When I hear system, it reminds me of the book. I think it's Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about the dude who was hauling buckets and bringing the water versus the dude who built the pipeline. And the pipeline is your system. So how long did it take you to build out your system, and what does your system consist of?
Okay. Again, it was a lot of trial and error, man. I was hiring VAs, they were terrible. I didn't know they were terrible because again, I didn't take a step back and, you know, self-evaluate and say, okay, do I know enough to do this? So starting off, I made sure I learned how to do everything in the business. So I know if someone is BSing me or not. You know what I mean? I know how the report should be on the phone with a seller. I know what to say to the cash buyer. I know how to market to the cash buyers and the sellers. But the system itself is we have a lady that does the skip tracing for us, right? I pull lists from softwares. I send the list to her. She gets us phone numbers and emails. I have 20 virtual assistants in the Philippines right now. They call all day. I have 2 guys that send out text messages all day in the Philippines. I'm paying them $3 an hour in the Philippines, $3 an hour. I have 2 people texting your phone all day, $1.50. And then I have 1 manager of the virtual assistants. We're paying her $5 an hour, and she reports directly to me. That's part 1, the marketing side. So once they get a lead, they send it to the CRM, and my guys in the office, they will call you back and say, hey, Mr. Todd, I heard you had a property over here in Anaheim. I was wondering if you want to sell that property. You know, if the numbers make sense, they send you an offer on the phone, and they go over the agreement with you on the phone to ensure that you sign it. The agreements expire in 24 to 48 hours. Once it's signed, I send it to my transaction coordinator. She's more like a secretary, if you will. She calls the attorneys. She calls the seller to set up the appointments for us to go look at it. And then my partner, he goes to look at the property with the cash buyer that are buying the properties from us. And then it's kind of like rinse and repeat.
That is crazy. It's crazy because I'm in the process of, I have a VA, and I'm in the process of trying to hire more VAs. And so we're looking in the Philippines. And so one of my friends, she has a cleaning business. She's been hiring people from the Philippines. And so I was like, I need to try this Philippine stuff, because American VAs, you know how much they want to charge you?
Right.
$25 an hour.
They entitled.
$25 an hour. And they don't even give you the full hour of work. They just send an invoice every Friday.
Right. They entitled.
And so it's crazy to hear that not only have you hired VAs, but you've hired a bunch of them.
Yes,
and
sir.
Then you hired VAs to manage the VAs.
Yes. She reports directly to me. Any issues, she listens to the calls. I listen to them too, but her primary thing is to listen to the calls, audit the calls, send me payroll. And she does most of the hiring with me and things like that. And she's like on them, every day. Hey, we need leads. Because I give them metrics as well. They have metrics. My guys in the office have metrics. My dispo team over there, my guy over there, he has metrics as well. Numbers. It's a system. Again, Chick-fil-A, man. First stop, you talk to my virtual assistants on the phone. Second stop, you're talking to my guys in the office. Third stop, you're talking to the transaction coordinator. Fourth stop, we should be closing the transaction with the attorney. Every time.
Yeah, it's like a conveyor belt. How long did it take you to build this system?
This system, to be honest, I had so much trial and error, and then I paid $5,000 to go to a one-day mastermind and learn from a guy that's doing what I'm doing, but he's a multi-millionaire doing it. So it goes back to what I'm saying, the value, man. A lot of people wouldn't do that. I paid $5,000. He showed me everything that I needed, and I came back to Atlanta and I went to work.
Yeah.
So probably I say 3 to 6 months.
Nice.
I told people that nobody spends more money on coaching and courses than somebody who already has money. Like it's the broke person's like, nah, $5,000. You know what I could do with $5,000? I could go on a vacation.
Exactly.
Like, I can put $5,000. That's gonna allow me to be well off.
I agree, because the objective of this is to build it so good that we can put an office manager in place. And now I can remove myself from coming here every day. Because again, we're making good money, but it's still active income. I'm still here, overseeing the team, when I can hire a manager, an office manager, to do this, just like I did with the other VA. And the great thing about our system is and Todd, I would probably highly recommend this to you if you're looking to scale some of your companies. Record everything. We use an app called Loom. I record everything. What to say, how to say it. If they say this, you say that. If they do this, you do that. Like it's no wasted motions in here. You should already know how to execute. You know what I mean? And we live by the motto in here: results over excuses, man. Results over excuses. Did they sign the contract or not? Did you get it signed or not? Did you get it low enough or not? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Podcast bars.
What do you do with leads that come in and they more so want retail? Like, do you have a realtor on your team that'll list the properties for you?
Absolutely. My partner is a realtor, and then one of my guys in the office is a realtor as well.
Okay, nice. And then in regards to numbers, right? So what are your metrics? Like, how many leads are you bringing in a day, a week, a month? Like, and then how's that converting to closings for you?
Okay, so most of the metrics we look at is, okay, so I'll start with the virtual assistants. They should be sending over, and again, this is not, they're not perfect. So they should be sending over 6 hot and warm leads a day. What is a hot lead? Somebody that's ready to close a deal in 14 days. Warm lead is probably a month. They need to talk to a husband or a daughter or another decision makers involved. They need to send me 6 of those a day per rep. So we got about 20 of them. So it should be 6 times 20, whatever the math is on that. They should send those over.
120 deals.
120, so 120 leads, right? My guys in the office, they should be able to get 6 signed contracts per week. I need 6 signed contracts per week. I'll take 3, but I really want 6. 6 signed contracts per week, right? Because again, we know it's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? With you being a realtor and stuff like that, you know everything's not going to close. It's real estate, man. It's probably one of the most unpredictable businesses ever. But you know, so we track that, right? And then I also track how many offers did they make daily. Before they leave, they have to put into our platform how many offers did you make every day. Okay, how many offers did you make? How many contracts were signed? How many follow-up calls did you do? As well as I would probably say, how many quality conversations did you have? A quality conversation to us is did you find out why they want to sell it? Because again, at the end of the day, the money is cool, but who have you helped, man? What problem have you solved for this seller? You know what I mean? So why do they want to sell it? What price do they have in mind? What's their timeline to sell? And what is the condition of the property? I have to know that. It's non-negotiable. That's a quality conversation to me. I will also say you should be able to tell me 3 things about the person and 3 things about the property.
Right.
I like how you keep them accountable by making those matrix that you said. It's like there should be something quantifiable based on what you did, not just the hour, but what did you produce in that hour?
Exactly.
How did you figure out what those things should be? Because for me, my business is a little bit different, but I'm trying to get to the point where I think probably, because for me, I'm not seeing myself as a wholesaler as much as I'm just trying to find deals for myself.
Right.
But still, I have people who they get paid for the hours, but I don't have anything to quantify that they put that time into that hour. So how did you figure those things out?
I would probably say I like to look at stuff that's measurable, number 1. I like to look at stuff that you can improve on. And number 3, I like to look at stuff that's really going to benefit the company long term. But most importantly, something that I can really look at and say, bro, this is an opportunity for you to get better, bro. This is where you drop the ball, but we're going to bounce back tomorrow, right? You know what I mean? So I like stuff like that. Really, I'll probably say, let's get to the meat and potatoes, man. Let's take all the fluff out, man. The meat and potatoes. Did you get the contract signed or not? Did you get the quality? Because if you have a quality conversation, that lets me know you built the correct rapport. That means more than likely they should be signing a contract if they're serious as they say they are. You know what I mean? Because if you're not, and also I track how many offers you made per day, right? Because it's like sports does. You know what I mean? You got to keep shooting your shot, man. So I tell them bro, if you're not getting your shots up, you're not making the offers, then what are you doing? Because it should be 15 offers a day. 15 offers a day, 6 contracts a week.
That's intense.
When I say these numbers, understand I'm in Atlanta, I'm in Tampa, I'm in Jacksonville, I'm in Orlando, and I'm in Charlotte and Raleigh. So I'm in 3 markets, really.
Yeah, that's all I was going to ask you. I didn't know what parts of the country that you were doing this in, because you mentioned Anaheim, and I was like, is he nationwide?
I'll just give you an example.
Okay, got it. And so you teach these people how to find the value, what they should be offering based on what the value is. You're teaching them all that stuff.
Yes, sir. Because again, I have a course on how to do this. So step number 1 is look at acquisition. We have an acquisitions course. We have a dispositions course. So if I hire you in the acquisitions department, I've created this myself. So if you come in BSing me, bro, I'm going to know. You know what I mean? I'm going to know if you're BSing me, bro. Because again, I'm going okay, did you look at module 2? Module 2 says this. You know what I mean? Because again, it goes back to Loom. I recorded everything in the company. So it's no room for BS. You know what I mean? Or it's no room for BS because I recorded everything. Thus, I can hold you accountable. So that's before you even get on the phone with my prospects. You're looking at the videos, and then it's almost like you're going to take a quiz with me as well. Okay, what's the ARV in this neighborhood? Let's break the numbers down. Okay, and I do a lot of role play with my guys too.
it. I like it a lot. So what's cool about this is like you took a skill and turned it into a business.
Yes, sir.
And that's what most people should be doing. My mom is a CPA and I keep telling her, stop doing them returns. That's not your job. Right. I feel like your job really is just to own the system because like for me, sometimes I feel like as an entrepreneur, you delegate all the tasks and then you focus on the scale of the marketing. But I feel like you've delegated the tasks and delegated the marketing. And so your job is really just to make sure that the people who you hired are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And it goes back to Robert Kiyosaki's book. Which one is it? Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about and once I read that book and understood that part, you know, I like Rich Dad Poor Dad just like everybody else. But that was the one for me right there because he really dug in on that one and really started preaching. It was like the B, the I, all those, and it made so much sense, you know, because again, if you think about it, when I first got started, I was self-employed. I was just hustling. You know what I mean? Going deal to deal, check to check. You know what I mean? And I had to take a step back, like, okay, leaders eat last. You're gonna have to hire people and pay them, and take what's left. You know what I mean? So that to anybody looking to get into any type of entrepreneurship, I highly recommend, take a look at that one because it makes so much sense, man. Because you see so many people that, I've been doing this business so long, but it's like you're still in the S quadrant. You know what I mean? And you can't, I can give this to a child if I have one, you know what I mean? But when you're self-employed, you can't.
That's such a bore.
And that's the thing, you know? And again, to add on to it, like, so I use the money for, because I feel like I'm in both, the B and I. I've used the money that I made with this to create Skip Source, which is a real estate investing software that allows people to, if they don't have the budget that I have, they can market on a smaller scale to get where I am. And I have VAs that run that as well.
How much are you spending on marketing?
On marketing for this business, we probably spend about close to 10 grand a month. That's marketing and overhead.
Right. So when did you know, or when did you say like, okay, it's time to scale? You said after deal 2?
After deal 2, I started looking at it like, okay, it's a lot, man. I mean, you know this with the real estate business, it's a lot, man. Like, you know, I started becoming deal to deal. As some people would say in the 9-to-5 world, check to check. I became deal to
right.
Like, bro, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. Like, I mean, when that third deal came around, I paid my car off cash. Why? That's one less bill to worry about. Now I can start putting even more money into marketing. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was tired. You know, I was like, man, I don't want to get burned out because I know what this business can do for me if I, you know, line my cards up and do this the right way. So at that point, I'm like, man, I got to hire a virtual assistant or something. You know what I mean? A lot of people in the wholesale business, that's where they get stuck at. They're doing deals, but it's just them. Because I would go on vacation, and then when I come back, oh man, I got to call Miss Scott back, or I got to call this guy back. You know what I mean? But when I go on vacation now, I can check my software and it's coming in. Boom, boom, boom.
Right. Right. And so you obviously saw the value in investing, like you said, in that system and building out a team right away. So what are some challenges that you had to deal with along the way in terms of building? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, a lot of people get stuck at you know, that building phase and they just don't do it, or some do it and it doesn't work out, and then they just like, you know, oh, this didn't work.
Screw it. Yeah. I would probably say, man, letting go of the rope. Like really like swat, like letting my ego go. Like, you know, because I was doing deals. I'm like, man, I'm the man. You know, I'm killing this. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm killing it. You know, and then I'm like, okay, man, this is a high paying job. I quit my job because I hated the job. You know what I mean? I hated the whole thing. So I think some of the challenges were utilizing my money properly. When I first started trying to scale, I was just throwing money at stuff because I heard somebody on YouTube talk about it. You know what I mean? Or of course he's gonna tell me it's good because it's his product. So I would just use this product because this guy on Instagram said use it. And I would probably say I was not structured with the hiring when I first got started. You know, I lost some great people, and then some people who in my opinion, they just weren't a good fit for what I wanted to build. they want to go off and do their own thing. I've had people try to steal the sauce or whatever and go do their own thing. So I made a point to make sure this thing is structured before I bring people on, because I understand this, man. If it's not structured when you bring them on, you're wasting their time and you're wasting your time, because they're not gonna stay long. And then it goes back to it, like my first job in high school was like Burger King. And I remember the first 2 weeks, they would sit you in the room and what they make you do? Watch videos and stuff like that before you get on the floor. So I said, man, I'm gonna make sure this thing is structured before I bring anybody else on. And I'm gonna make sure I'm in the right mindset to hire people and understand that I'm going to have to pay people. And I feel like that's what a lot of people drop the ball is ego, where they don't want to let go of the rope and give people responsibilities. But most importantly, a lot of people don't want to pay people, man. It's the truth.
That's real. Yeah, because you're questioning whether or not you can even afford it in the first place, right? Because that's the thing about business. Business is up and down. But to your point, Charles, when you do hire more people, yes, that gives you opportunity to make more money, because now you've created, 2 of you or 3 of you, also, or whatever the case.
I feel like that's an employee mindset too, because even back to my point when I was talking about American PAs wanting $25 an hour, like that's me comparing it to like going out in the job market and finding a job. So you're like, if I were to go out and look for a job, I don't know what they'd pay me, but it probably wouldn't be whatever that is. So why should I pay this person? But I think you can actually look at it as, all right, I'm going to pay you $25 an hour to make me $200 an hour or $500 an hour or $1,000 an hour, because it's definitely possible. And so whatever anybody wants to be paid for an hour of their time is not enough, because your hour is priceless. And so like, if you recondition your mind and you stop looking at wages from an employee and start looking at it as a boss, it doesn't matter. The owner of the Clippers doesn't care that Kawhi Leonard gets paid $100 million for 4 years, because he's making $100 million a year, probably more. The owner of the Lakers doesn't care what they pay LeBron James, because he's making billions. There's a reason why these companies are valued the way they are. So that's actually, I'm learning a lot just by having this conversation. I was going to ask you what your best deal was, and this is so revolutionary, it seems like your best deal is putting a system together, not actually going out there doing the footwork and maneuvering it yourself. I don't think we've ever had this conversation on this podcast.
Yeah.
I really don't. Everybody that we talk to is like, I did that, I built this, I made it happen.
It's team, man. It's a team. I have a great team, man. Like one of my guys, he's 21 years old, man. He made 10 grand last month. 21, 10 grand. And he's already, and one thing I like about my guys, they listen to me. And we have a great relationship. Not so much do what I say. No, it's like, it's almost like family, if you will, and I know it's cliche, but it's like, man, I'm in the process of getting my Airbnb. And I told them, I say, hey, man, the money that you're making, you need to go get assets as well. Don't just come here and work for me, man. Like, don't come here and work with me. Like, bro, you need to be getting assets. I've connected one of my guys with a private money lender here in Atlanta so he can go get a rental property, because he stays with his mom right now. I'm like, bro, like, be respectful to your mom. If she wants you to cut the grade, do whatever she says. Stack the money from this. Go get you an Airbnb. Go get you a rental property, and just keep working, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's where a lot of people drop the ball when they're trying to hire people is, okay, do what I say. But how are they growing and how are they benefiting outside of just making the money? You know what I mean? Because again, we've all been in that position at jobs where you're like, man, I'm just here. I'm counting the clock. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I was going to ask you, are you paying people bonuses? Is there some sort of like incentives that you've tied to their compensation?
Yeah, so basically, I have a few different structures, right? With the virtual assistants, of course, with them being in the Philippines, they prefer an hourly rate. You know what I mean? They get paid hourly, and then if they send a hot lead over and we close that deal, I send them $100 bonus once the transaction closes. And what we send it to them on the next paycheck, right? And in America, we're like, oh, what's $100? But to them, man, they love that, man. They're like, they're overly excited. And so my guys in the office, I ask them, I give them the option. Do you want salary or do you want 100% commission? And I break the numbers down. For example, the biggest deal we did in our company was 45 grand. This was last month, 45 grand. We did 100K in 1 week. That deal was for 45 grand. One of my guys, he made $4,500 on that deal. You know what I mean? If you're on salary, I'm paying you, I want to say $2,500 a month plus 5% commission. So I let them know you can pick whatever way you want to go. You can go 100% commission, or you can go salary plus commission. Because I'm one of the type of people, I understand that people have families to provide for and other things going on in their life that they may not quite be ready for 100% commission yet. And the good thing with me is they can choose to switch every quarter. So when the next quarter comes up, if they feel like, man, I left a lot of money on the table, I want to go 100% commission. So my guys in the office is 10% on every deal that closes. We pay them out immediately after the deal closes. As soon as the deal closes, it hits the company account. You get paid the next day via QuickBooks. If you want to do salary, I want to say it's $2,500 a month plus 5% on whatever deal you close, right? And then my VA, I pay them bi-weekly, and they get $100 on every deal that they send over.
So you pay your deal finding people a different rate than you're paying your people who close the deal.
Yeah, so my virtual assistant, because you have to understand this, they're the ones getting the calls of F you, don't ever call me again, who are you, I'm calling the police, or they're really like the front line, if you will. You know what I mean? They're really getting all the bad calls. And I promised them, once you send me a good deal, yes, I'm going to pay you bi-weekly, but I'm going to send you a bonus every time we close it. And I have a whole system where I track that as well.
Man,
so they can go in and look at it. It gives them something to look forward to.
If you haven't written a book or a course on this, you should, because I'm buying it.
It's funny you say that, man. That's the next plan. We're gonna do some. I want to turn people into. I want people to go from hustling to real businessmen. You know what I mean? And business women. So that's something I'm working on with my partner. We're gonna do like a 2-day type of thing where you come in and really we're gonna break your business down and really teach you how to really like level this thing up, because it's too much money to be made out here, bro. You know what I mean? And that helped me, So yeah, we're definitely gonna do something like that where we really break businesses down and really show you how to really build a company, man, a real legitimate system.
It's risky because like we said earlier in the show, like a lot of us didn't come from this. Right. And so the idea of even hiring a virtual assistant is a leap in itself. The idea of hiring people to do these things is a leap in itself. But like you said, whenever you take that risk, you tend to kind of find a way to work it out. But one of the things you said that I like is that a lot of it was trial and error. And I know a lot of people, they want to make sure that their system is flawless before they launch the system, as opposed to launching the system and then kind of critiquing it and finding a way to make it perfect. So I definitely learned a ton, and we didn't really even talk about real estate. We talked about just strictly business and systems, which is something I'm trying to build out. That's my life. My life right now is systems. How do I develop a process? How do I make sure that I have things going automatic? How do I make sure I have this thing running without my presence, without me having to think of everything that needs to be done? Exactly. So super powerful episode. And I know that's what Rashawn is as well.
So before we wrap, I have a question. How did the pandemic help or hurt your business, or make you pivot in any way?
Okay, man, that's a great question. That's the first time I got that one. I would probably say when it first popped off, I was nervous. And again, I'm very transparent. I was nervous. I'm like, man, because I closed the deal 2 weeks before, the news started reporting it. And I hit it. And I closed that deal. I made like 13 grand. So, my thought was, okay, it's really about to be a great year. You know what I mean? I'm up. So what we had to do is take a step back and say, okay, because at the time I was in South Carolina as well, but it really wasn't really a great market. So I had to take a step back and say, okay, it's time to be more structured, and it's time to really, really be more efficient with the investing. Meaning, we're only putting money into things that work: cold calling and text blast. That's all we do right now. Before that, I was doing RVM. I was reaching out to everybody in my phone. I was trying to pay people to go drive and find properties for me. I said cold calling and text blasting. Why? Because everybody has a phone in their hand, or they have a phone somewhere, right? So I pivot like that. But it did slow down for me for about a month. I'm being honest. It did slow down for a month. And then I had to just recalculate some things and really take a step back and say, okay, where's the opportunity? The opportunity is the landlords who are dealing with tenants that won't move. So we have a thing in our company where it's called cash for keys. basically what I would do is I tell them I'll take care of the tenant. Don't worry about that. Sign my paperwork, I'll get it done. So I go to the tenant and say, hey, Mr. Johnson or whatever, listen, I can pay for you a U-Haul. I can give you $2,000 to move. I can get you your Airbnb. We actually have this same scenario going on right now. I can get you your Airbnb. I can pay for your U-Haul. I can give you $2,000 to move into your next place. You know, what do you need done? What do you need done? I'm talking to the tenant, right? And it all goes back to relationships, man. I build a great relationship with the seller, the tenant, and the buyer. You know, because I want to make a win-win-win for everybody. So that is one of the best. That's when the opportunity really came at. These people who were dealing with tenants that didn't want to move and things like that. I would probably say that. So cash for keys. You know, we pay the tenants to go, and then we ask for a price cut from the seller as well.
Good stuff.
I think what's dope is capitalizing on the opportunity that the pandemic presented and presented en masse. I always tell people they look at like the money that was made during the pandemic and they're like, oh man, so much money was made. Well, they gave people a bunch of money and then they shut down all the places for them to spend it. They got to give it to us. Who else they gonna give it to? But people with online businesses. So we are blessed. Thank you for coming on the show, man. We're gonna ask you the last few questions, and then we're gonna take us out. So the first question is, what is your favorite business or real estate book?
Man, I have a few, man. I would probably say, and this one I would recommend to you as well, Traction. That's the one that really got me right with the systems, bro. Traction. Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? And Jewish Phenomenon. You know, I think that one really taught me a lot about money and really understanding money. You know, because again, I didn't come from a community or a family where money was a taboo subject in my household. You know what I mean? It was more of, we don't have it, or hey, I can't afford that, or why are you asking for that? You know what I mean? And I think the Jewish Phenomenon really taught me that it's a whole other, you know what I'm saying? And then what was the next question?
Who is someone you look up to and why?
Hold on, really quick.
Wait, he listed like 3 business books.
I was gonna say something about something. Dang. All right.
You said business something.
Never mind. Go ahead.
All right. The next question is, who is someone you look up to and why?
I would probably say, man, you know, my mom, somebody I know personally, probably be my mom. Just the resilience and, you know, the perseverance of her to really raise me and my siblings throughout everything. And, you know, she's always in great spirits. But most importantly, man, she's always told me to go for it. It was never a thing where, are you sure you want to do that? It was always, you know, you've done this, and this, you know, go for it. You know, just be smart, stay around the right people. And, you know, just keep being the great kid that you are that I raised. You know, so I would definitely say my mom. That's really who I do it for. You know, because she needs to see it. You know what I mean? She needs to see it as well, man. And I would probably say someone that I've never met personally. I mean, definitely, I would probably say Bob Johnson. Any of my frat brothers that are killing it in business right now. I would probably say
that. Man. This isn't a question on our last 4, but I'm curious. You're in Atlanta. Atlanta is big baller, flashy, flossing city, and you've been killing it, man. What have you bought to celebrate your success, if anything?
I haven't bought anything yet because I come from humble beginnings. Like, I'm not from Atlanta, so I'm not caught up in it like a lot of people are. You know, I mean, I look at it as, I'm really, to be honest, Todd, I view Atlanta as a business for me. I'm here on business. I don't feel like this is my last stop. So I'm really here on business to build businesses, and I'm here to build relationships and leverage those and things like that. So I haven't really bought anything crazy. I made some great investments. I would probably say I love to travel. So I've traveled a lot, but I'm looking to get the Porsche 911 probably next year though.
I'm looking to get a Porsche 911 too, man.
That's it, man. Listen, that's the one. So if I were to do anything, it'll be that next year for my birthday, next March. And that's only after I make sure I have 20K a month passing. So I got goals. I have goals I want to reach before I really get into that type of stuff. And another thing, man, I don't have a car note right now, so it's kind of spoiled me not to have a car note. You know what I mean?
What sets apart successful business owners and investors from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
I would definitely say the mindset, man. It takes a different type of person to really get into this and stay in this. through the ups and the downs, because a lot of people, I feel as if they don't want to sacrifice and they don't want to go through that ugly stage. When I say that ugly stage, meaning I calling 1,000 people getting hung up on, threatening to be sued, you know what I mean? People stealing deals from you, people, people quitting on you and things like that. A lot of people, they don't want to see it through. They want they want it done overnight. And one thing I've learned, man, nothing worth having pops overnight. Nothing worth having comes overnight. You know what I mean? So I'll probably say that's the biggest thing. Mindset. A lot of people don't have patience and they're not willing to sacrifice. They're not really to market their product, although their friends may scroll past it because they're thinking their friends are gonna, talk about them because, oh, his product sucks or something. You know what I mean? That type of stuff, man. A lot of us, we're in our own way. We're our own problem and solution, if you ask me.
It's funny because like we let our friends and our family stop us. And I don't know about y'all, but none of my friends or family have paid my bills.
Right.
Like none of them have showed up to my house and said, hey, I got this.
Right.
So like, why do I care if they dislike what I'm doing to make sure I can pay those bills? I shouldn't care.
And you have to, and another way I look at it is like, okay, these people who you're afraid to fail in front of, like, what do they have? Like, what do they have? What have they accomplished? What have they built? Most people have gave up on themselves a long time ago, man. I kind of feel like a lot of people kind of like quit on life around 30. They kind of like, oh man, well, I may not ever find love, or I may not get back in shape like I was 5-6 years ago, and it's over. You know what I mean? They just start going through the motions. So, I mean, who are you trying to impress? What I feel like this, man. Once you know your why, and I feel like that's another reason why a lot of people don't make it in business and entrepreneurship. What's your why? Why are you doing this? Your why will take you through all the trials and tribulations and the valleys and the peaks that are gonna come with it. When you know why you're doing this, whether it's kids, wife, family, your community and things like that. You know what I mean? So, I'm the oldest in my family. I have all my siblings. They watch everything I post on social media. They watch exactly how I move. I've heard them repeat things to me that I've said on social media that I forgot I said. You know what I mean? So, and that's the biggest thing. I know my why. My family, my community. But most importantly, like, I want to leave a legacy to my future kids and family members. I have this thing called Robinson privilege, right? I want my kids to have Robinson privilege. What is that? 2-parent household, assets, a wealth of knowledge, you know what I mean, coming from structure and things like that. Those type of things, man. So Robinson privilege, so they can come into the world not having to worry about some of the things I had to worry about. And I feel
that's
like
my new thing.
I knew you was gonna say that. Charles over there looking like Ogles. I know. I'm like, Charles is about to tweet it. As soon as we get off, it's gonna be on Twitter. Watch.
This is a great episode, man.
Yes.
Any last words, Rashana?
Yeah, we have a last question. Marquis, what does success mean to you?
Success means to me, man, how many people have you impacted in a positive way? I can't tell you how excited I was that one of my sales rep made 10 grand at 21. You know what I mean? I can't tell you the feeling that I have that I'm about to release 2 scholarships for named after my 2 deceased grandmothers. You know what I mean? Because they helped me so much growing up as well. So that type of stuff. Success is how many people you've impacted, and I think that's probably it. How many people have you impacted, and how many people have you impacted in a positive way? And just, how many people have you put on, man? How many people have you helped get to whatever level they want to get to in their life? And how many people have you helped just go for it, man? You know what I mean? Like I love when people say, man, bro, you motivate me, dog. I need to hear that, because it takes a lot to do this every day and be consistent like this with results. So success means to me, man. How many people you've impacted in a positive way? How many people have you put on? What type of lineage have you left for your family long term and things like that? I changed my name to the Wealth Forever on so many social medias because I want this to be something that's forever. And I really believe that. In my heart, I believe that Wealth Forever. It should be forever. When I go, the next family member should take it and keep running with it. Just like they do at Walmart. You Google the top 10 richest people in America, a few of them from the Walmart family is going to pop up. Why can't we be the same way?
Yeah. Absolutely. Good stuff. Such a great interview. Thank you so much for the gems, the knowledge. I mean, we haven't done a live interview in a while, and I don't think we've done an interview this long in a while.
I appreciate it, man.
but it man, yeah, so many good pointers from like I said, just starting out and having that exposure, right? Knowing that you are different and then feeding that side of you,
Right.
knowing what you wanted to go after. And then man, jumping right out there, taking the risk, cashing out. Like,
Right.
so many people don't don't take that
Don't go
risk
for it, man.
because they're afraid. And then, like I said, but they're playing it safe.
Right.
But there's no way you definitely wouldn't have had these, the opportunities that you have and would have built the business had you that you have now, you were still being a teacher. So good stuff. Where can people find you, follow you, support what you have going on?
Yeah, man. You can find me I'm heavy on Instagram. I've just started getting on Twitter like that, but it's wealth underscore forever on both of those platforms on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, you can find me on those two. I mean, reach out to me, man. If y'all in Atlanta, man, please reach out to me. I'd love to show y'all some Southern hospitality and all that good stuff. I mean, I feel like we have everything here. We love to have y'all. And man, thank you for the opportunity. And Miss Rashana, I'm gonna definitely tell my mom I met you on the show today.
Yes.
Making
connections out here.
Absolutely.
Also, we can't end the show without giving a shout out to the brother Andre Hatchett. I think he sent me a DM and he was like, "Hey man, you got to get this brother on the show." I was like, "I know that dude, man. We've been trying to make this happen."
Man, that's my guy. That's my guy. I went and saw him Saturday. For his birthday. I pulled up on him.
I didn't know it was his birthday. Usually I send him something for his birthday. I got to get him something. You got to definitely show respect and honor to the people who are just dope people. He's just a good person, all around good person. So
all around, man.
So with that, this is another episode of the Oglesby and Scott Show, which is my favorite podcast. I learned a lot because I get to interview the guests and ask questions that help me. And then also get to help you guys too, and hopefully help Rashana Scott. My name is Charles Oglesby. Make sure you click all the links in the show notes from all of our dope friends, Terry Joma, Hood Estates, Charm City Buyers, people who are just doing amazing things. And make sure you leave us a rating and review. We like 5-star reviews. We like ratings and comments. Share the podcast with your friends and family because we're getting a good amount of listens, but the world is big. And so we got to continue to grow this. So with that, any last words, Rashana, or should we take it out?
Oglesby and Scott Show, signing off.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, man.
Thank you so much for coming on. When will the interview be out, Charles?
It depends on how fast Don can get it out. Yeah, no, honestly, I think that we're caught up. So this could.
We have your headshot. We have his headshot and everything. Did you send that over?
I don't think so, but I can email it over.
Okay.
Yeah, send that to us, please.
Okay. And what email do I need to send it to?
It's I was gonna say Oglesby and Scott Show. I think it's Scott and the Oglesby Show on the email though. Just DM it to
you have my email address. Yeah, just DM it to me and we'll work it out that way.
All right, cool. That's
I have the new VA working on podcast guests. I wanted to reach out to some people, so I'll plug you in with her. She's really good. She's actually been hustling, but she's expensive, $25 an hour.
Okay.
Out here paying folks mortgages and shit.
Right. But definitely though, Charles, Traction, bro, man, that's a game changer, man. That book is a great game changer for sure. Traction.
I feel like once you get out into the business world, it's like you got to do the systems. Otherwise, you have to do the work.
Right.
So it's like if I don't automate it, I got to do it, and I don't want to do anything. Otherwise, I just go work a job.
Exactly. It's a job, man.
Yeah.
I can't find you. Wealth Forever.
Yeah. Wealth _ forever on Instagram.
If you just type in Marquis, it should come up.
Yeah, that'll probably pop up too.
I'm like, that's weird.
I think it's 2 underscores also.
Yeah, maybe 2 of them. My bad.
Man, no. I got nothing. All right, DM.
I'll screenshot
DM me his page. Just DM me his page. Perfect.
All right, I'm about to go eat some food.
Have a good night.
Later.
All right, thank y'all.
Bye.